inform you the protocol during the video conference. Please listen this carefully. First, please kindly adjust your name or ID screen using the format your university underscores your name. And second, during the video conference, we kindly ask all participants to turn off the audio and only turn on the audio when MC, speaker, or moderator give the order. And the third, we would like to recommend all participants to adjust your seat position and prevent the backlight effect. Just try to be relaxed because we have to focus during the video conference. Fourth, please ensure your network has stable internet connection for your convenience during the event. Last but not least, we recommend all participants to use a headset or earphones for clear sound and better experience. Okay, if you all understand about the protocols, please give us a thumb using the thumb button. And we also encourage for all participants of the 5th series of P2P to fill in the form attendance on the link. And the link also could be found in the chat room. The committees will help us to find the link. Okay, we are about to open the event. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Best wishes to all of us. We thank God Almighty because over the blessing and graces we can gather at the very moment. A warm welcome to all of you in the 5th series of P2P, People-to-People Relationship Virtual Public Lecture, a joint program that helped between the educational and cultural attaché of the Indonesian Embassy in Washington, D.C., United States of America. I'm RPTNI, Majelis Rektor Perguruan Tinggi Negeri Indonesia, and I4, Ikatan Ilmuwan Indonesia Internasional, United States of America and Canada in this amazing Saturday, 24th October 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to greet the Honorable Professor Taufik from California Poly State University, San Luis Obispo, United States of America, the Honorable Dr. Andi Ilham, the Executive Secretary of MRPTNI, the Honorable Vidya Listianingrum Budiharto Putri, PhD, and all participants of P2P Virtual Public Lecture 2020 from Sabang until Merauke. So, just glimpse of information about P2P, we had engaged more than 1,000 participants from all over Indonesia until the 4th series. But we still encourage all of you to share the event link to anyone who is interested about the topic, or everyone can also watch in our official YouTube in ITS Global Engagement. I know 1,000 is probably not big enough, but however, it is not about the number. Again, we emphasize about the impact that must be spread to all the people, because we believe starts from here, we can do something for our beloved country, Indonesia. Okay, without further ado, I would like to invite our moderator for today, Dr. Vidya Listianingrum Budiharto Putri. She is the lecturer and researcher at Laboratory of Power System Instrumentation, Measurement and Identification, as well as editor-in-chief of Journal on Advanced Research in Electrical Engineering under publishing of Department of Electrical Engineering, ITS. She is the amazing woman that will guide us today. And hello, Dr. Vita, how are you?
Fine, thank you, Mr. Ronnie.
Yes, are you excited for today?
Oh, yes, creativity, yeah, it's something that I think, can we learn about it, or is it a skill that is something to be exercised too? So yeah, I'm excited to hear the lectures from Professor Taufik.
Wow, great. I know that we were talking about some invention, cultivation. And of course, everyone cannot wait. And I do believe all participants feel the same way. So for Dr. Vita, I'm officially give the stick to you. Time and place is yours. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Roni. Good morning, everyone. So maybe all of you have already seen the flyer for today's event. I would like to read some of biography from Professor Taufik. I'm also sure you already see some of his achievements on the flyer. Maybe the committee can help me to share Professor Taufik's bio. Okay, so currently he is a professor in electrical engineering department at Cal Poly State University. He is also the director of Electric Power Institute at Cal Poly State University. He received an award. It's 2012 Outstanding Teaching Award from American Society of Engineering Education. He is also a senior member of IEEE, the Society of Electrical and Electronics Engineer. And he is currently chair of Power and Energy Society chapter in Central Coast section of California. This is a huge community society in IEEE, in electrical engineering area. He also holds 2 US patents. I did some research just currently. It's really interesting. It's related to his project. Maybe he will tell you later about that. And he also published over 200 technical papers and journals, reports, and books. He obtained all of his degrees in electrical engineering, all from USA. And his research interests are power electronics, power systems, rural electrifications, energy harvesting, renewable energy, and smart grid. All of this research are interesting for me because I'm from electrical engineering. I hope even you are not from electrical engineering background, you will still find this interesting. Okay. Okay, I see in the chat there is already a link for you to submit your question. So later, if you have any question, you don't have to wait until the presentation is finished. You can just type your questions. So it will make the committee easier to moderate your question. Okay, I think that's all about the short bio. Now we can move to the presentation itself. Professor Taufik, are you ready with the topic? Yes. So we will have around 1 hour, and then it will be continued with the question and answer session. Yes, Professor Taufik, you may start your presentation. Thank you.
All right. Good morning. Assalamualaikum to everyone.
Waalaikumsalam. Good morning.
Good to see you all. I know some of you I met before, but I'm sure majority of you I have not met before. So for those of you I have not met before, it's the first time we met. So I want to introduce myself. Again, as I was already mentioned earlier, I have a very simple name, not really fancy name, just Taufik. That's enough for me. And it's hopefully easy to remember too. It's a very common name in Indonesia, Taufik. Not really common here in the US. And so it's, but luckily I'm the only person on campus who has only one name. So that's why people know me by my only name on campus. If somebody asks, who do you know Taufik? And probably they would say, yeah, that's the guy with only one name. So I'm unique that way on campus. I got lots of interesting stories behind my name, but we're not here to talk about my name. But maybe later when we have the time, we can chit chat some more and we can share you some funny stories. But let's go to our topic today, which is going to be a bit different from what I typically share. And I usually give a presentation on technically related topics, but today it's a different one. It's related to how we can cultivate innovations, creativities, hopefully to lead inventions. So I'm going to share you my PowerPoint shortly here. Okay. Let's see. There. All right. Can you all see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. Hang on a second here. Okay, there it is. All right. So the title of my presentation is on cultivating creativities to promote inventions. This is going to be based mainly on my personal experience working at Cal Poly for the past 21 years. I'm currently the professor of electrical engineering at Cal Poly, as already mentioned, also director of Electric Power Institute. I'll talk more about that later. And yeah, that'll be it. And then just briefly about Cal Poly. I know some of you, or maybe majority of you maybe, do not know about Cal Poly yet. We are in the state of California. We are located close to the beach on the coastal line of San Luis Obispo. That's the city where the campus is located, right there. And strategically is located between two large industrial areas, namely the Silicon Valley and Southern California. So Los Angeles, San Diego on the south side, San Jose, San Francisco, Bay Area, the entire Bay Area on the north side. And so that's why, speaking of innovations, we are deeply impacted by, these two areas, and also, the universities around us, big universities around us, they also have, big influences to our way of doing, way of promoting invention or creativities on campus. So that's the location of Cal Poly. Very nice locations, beautiful locations, close to the beach, no snow in the winter. Founded in 1901, originally as a polytechnic school, but nowadays there is no more polytechnic school in the US. So everything is every one of them converted to a university. So for Cal Poly State, we converted to a university in 1972, changed the name to California Polytechnic State University. So it is a university with 6 colleges: engineering, business, science, math, agriculture, liberal arts, and architecture, with engineering being the largest college on campus. We are the second largest in terms of area in California, the first one being UC Berkeley. And in terms of the ranking in the US, we have, there is a different ranking here in the country. Based on US News World and Report, we are the top undergraduate engineering school in the country. No PhD, but in terms of undergraduate engineering program, we are the top in the country. Also related to the presentation today, we are #1 in the West for most innovative school. So that's a little bit about Cal Poly. Here's the picture, a picture of our campus. As you can see, beautiful site. Some of the participants today, my friends, have been here. So hopefully, those of you who have not been here after this pandemic's over, feel free, or I welcome you to stop by to our beautiful campus here. And yeah, I'll take you around, take you to a tour to our labs, right? And surrounding areas, beautiful areas. As you can see, surrounded by rolling hills, not too far from the beach, right? Very nice area. Some pictures of some faculty from Indonesia who have visited Kapolri and did a short-term research with me in the past, I don't know, 10, 12 years or so. Not just from Indonesia, also from Malaysia. This picture right here, Dr. Oni from Brawijaya University visited me as a Fulbright scholar a couple of years ago. And Dr. Farul Razi from Malaysia also visited several years back. And the most recent visit is a group from ITS. I know some of you are here, Professor Margot Ardiono. I met with Dr. Anang earlier, and I believe Mbak Talita is here too in the participant, but this is a nice picture. Unfortunately, the person who took the picture is not in the picture. What is his name? I forgot now. Is it Ricky? Oh, Raki, Mas Raki. Yeah. Unfortunately, he's not in the picture. But it's a nice picture of the sign that we have, or one of the signs we have on campus. We got some visits from UGM as well. Already mentioned ITS, and then Pajajaran, and then also Kementerian Perdagangan Republik of Indonesia. And these are some of the students, PhD students, who came to visit to do short-term research. Hopefully, some of you will be interested as well in doing short-term research visit to Cal Poly. As you can see, we have, as the name implies, we used to be a polytechnic school, so we have a lot of labs, a lot of equipment for us to play with. So let me know if you're interested. Hopefully, we get to do that someday. All right, related to my presentation today. First, I'll talk about how creativity can lead to inventions, and then the second big topic there, based on my experience, I'll try to share my own experience related to how we can cultivate learning environment where we can cultivate creativities in classrooms, department level type of effort, college level type of effort, university level, as well as beyond university. All right, so let's get started with the first one. Okay, so as you know, this world's becoming smaller and smaller, quote unquote, of course. It's getting easier for us to collaborate, between departments within a university, between colleges within a university, even with, between universities in the same nation, as well as, between universities across nations, right? So it's literally, our world is shrinking because of the technology that we have today. And that, of course, it's a good thing to happen, but at the same time, it poses challenges for us as an educator to start thinking about, further, advancing this human civilization, to make our, basically advancing our human civilization with teaching our students creativity, so they can have, ways to solve problems in the future, more innovative ways to solve problems in the future, which hopefully lead to more, inventions or innovations. And so I'm sure I'm not the only one in academia who believes that enhancing students' creativity should be a core mission of education in the 21st century. Right? I'm sure a lot of you agree with that. And one of the main characteristics of creativity is novelty, right? Which, in essence, is capturing the sense that an idea is not well known, right? Or discovery of something new, in short. And when it comes to discovering something new, the successful introduction of something new is what we call innovation. Right? So how do we know we actually have an innovation? One of the things we can identify where we have innovation is by recognizing whether or not whatever that we believe is an innovation can change in a standard, or can change a standard or existing behavior. That's one way to identify. Another way is to have a look at whether or not whatever it is that we feel is an innovation can provide better outcomes, right? So that's a couple of ways of identifying when innovation comes about. And then I mean, in short term, when innovation occurs, people are quote unquote transformed, right? And innovation could be it could be either incremental innovations as well as radical innovations, right? Incremental innovations are referring to refinements of existing routines or products, whereas radical innovations entail substantial change or a shift to a new base of knowledge. As an example of an incremental innovations, zip codes was invented invented in around early 1960s, I believe, and that actually helped ease off the mail delivery system. However, the process didn't change, right? Still, people writing letters, physical letters, and somebody has to carry that letter, right? Bring that letter to the person who's the letter is supposed to be or intend to to go to. So again, the process didn't change, but it nevertheless having zip codes improves the system. But then a radical innovation would be in sort of not in addition to, but steps further than zip code, which is the way we change the process of exchanging information, basically, right? Instead of writing letters, we can now earlier people send faxes, for example, instead of send letters, and then afterward emails were invented, and then after that we have these phones that we can just send text, or even in the future maybe we have drones that deliver packages and stuff like that, right? So that's to me that's a radical innovations, right? Substantial change or a shift to a new base of knowledge. So that's hopefully that clears up the difference between incremental versus radical innovations. And as an outcome of innovations, of course, we have, or I should say, innovations will lead to or brings about invention, right? Which is something that has never been made before. That's the definition of invention. As an example, not too long ago, right? We rarely see people putting solar panels on their rooftops, right? But then since somebody invented solar panels, thought about, hey, why don't we collect energy from the sun? So they invented solar cells, and then later on solar panels. Now they pursue more, right? Pursued more from that idea, and followed up from that idea of what if we utilize this energy from the sun for our house, right? Instead of for something else, so let's use it for our house. And so now we have these creativity that leads to inventions, right? Or innovation first and then invention. So now we see more and more houses, especially in California, that have rooftop solar panels, right? And that helps, right, in terms of easing off electric bill, for example, right? Another technology that I could use as an example related to my background, you can see this picture on the left, right there. We have this big wind turbine, right? And yeah, it's an eyesore. Like if you put this ugly big wind turbine in the middle of a field like this, in right by the downtown area, right? I'm pretty sure not many people will like this view. Plus they're noisy, right? So it's probably not a good idea, right? So even though the invention was good, converting energy from the wind to electricity, but for this kind of situation, this kind of condition, this kind of environment, this is not the place, right? It's an out of place kind of a situation to put this type of technology. So then, from here, people make a, innovations of, okay, what if we make this wind turbine, more aesthetic, right? So it doesn't look that ugly. It looks like artistic type of wind turbine, right there. So that might be acceptable to some people, right? But then another idea, this is actually one of my ideas a long time ago, is that I was driving from my house to campus, which I commute every day 30 minutes from where I live to campus. So I drive every day when when there's no pandemic, of course. And then one time I drove by this factory that has cell tower, basically antenna, right, for cell towers. And it hits me that what if instead of using this factory for antennas, why not use these for wind turbines, for not wind turbine, but wind generations, right? Wind energy generations. How so? By having, for example, piezoelectric attached to every single leaf in the factory. So as the wind blows, and every single leaves attached to this tree will move, right? And that would be creating pressure on this piezoelectric, and in turn will create electricity. So we did this. We did this idea, right? Back in 2008, I believe. I don't remember exactly, a long time ago. Just a proof of concept that we can actually do it. And yes, we actually did it, and we came up with a circuit. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to patent that idea. So now you can actually see the circuit that we built to do this. And at the time, of course, it was just an idea. It was not fitting yet at the time, because piezoelectric is still expensive. I don't know about the price of piezoelectric these days, but it doesn't matter, right? As long as we lay out the foundation for future technology, that's good enough for me. So in the future, if the price of piezoelectrics comes down, significantly to the point that it is really cheap, then we can put thousands of piezoelectric on this fake tree, which can generate power, and that would be much better than having these ugly big wind turbines, right, in the urban area. So imagine if I replace this ugly big tower with a fake tree. That would be a better sight to see, right, in downtown areas, right? So that's just another example of creativity, that leads to innovations. But unfortunately for that one, I didn't get a chance to patent my circuit. This one, this is my passion since 2010. My main research I started with this research called DC House Project, which aims to help people get electricity in rural areas. And it started with a very simple concept of having small scale renewable energy sources, right? Small, these are all small, not big, because the house is a small house. This is a rural area type of house, maybe 150 watts to 300 watt type of capacity, not big, mostly lightings. So if the house is small, capacity of the house is not that big, then why do we need big sources, right? We can do small sources, and we can combine small sources into one, right? With this MISO, I call this MISO, multiple input, single output. This is the one that I patented. This is my second patent, by the way. And so that was the idea. But then from this idea, it grows into other ideas, more ideas, and to the point that it doesn't stop there. That's what's nice. That's what's good about. That's what's exciting about exploring new field, is that you discover more and more to actually develop, more and more new ideas to develop things that I didn't think before, and then I discovered as I was exploring this potential. Right. One of the things that we discovered that, hey, if I have a DC bus right here, all the DC loads are different voltages, then it will be not a good design if I have multiple wall plugs, right, for DC. Imagine if a house has multiple DC plugs, right? One for 12 volts, one for 5 volts, one for, that's something that I didn't think before. But then as I was doing this project, we came across this problem, and then we said, we need a better, approach for this. And so we came up with an idea of what we call smart wall plug, another idea that we developed at Cal Poly, but unfortunately, I didn't get the time to patent it as well. So if you're interested in that idea of having a smart wall plug, the documents are available for you to read. Anyhow, now these are just some examples for you to to hopefully realize that innovations may come from something new that you started, right? Some new area that you're trying to explore, and then as you are going deeper into it, you discover more and more new things to innovate. And here's another technology that that's becoming big these days, right? You can see how this development of LEDs helps a lot of people in terms of saving energy, right? And it doesn't stop here, does it, right? At this point, I'm actually developing a new technology for LED, not the LED itself. I'm not an expert in LED manufacturing or LED technology. I'm more interested in how we process the energy into LEDs. So as we speak, we're actually doing a project, a new idea on how we can actually cut the cost of powering LEDs. So it doesn't stop there. To me, it's more like, this is a picture that shows that, creativities, which leads to inventions. It's more like, once you start punching the wall, right? And then you keep punching the wall, and, it start to crack, right? Start to have many cracks. And every single one of us can, do any one of these single cracks, right? You can go deeper into this one crack, or somebody else, is doing the other crack. It doesn't matter which crack you're going, you're going forward. But the idea here, you're trying to expand upon what somebody has already started, the big crack that somebody already started with. And hopefully at the end, you can actually have a big enough crack that it goes through the other side of the wall, right? And that's when we have a breakthrough, right? So to me, that's how I think about, having or teaching students about creativities that hopefully will lead to, different ways of solving problems, different cracks, different path of the cracks, and hopefully they can even, come up with new inventions, right, to solve the problem. Okay. So then, you can see that the outcomes of the inventions are as varied as human endeavor itself. New languages, new products, new business models, new games, new medicines, whatever it is, right? That could be an outcome of an invention. The common result, however, is an improvement, right? It could be in terms of improvement in terms of more effective problem solution, or improvement in terms of more efficient process, improvement in terms of reduced risk, or improvement in terms of convenience, right? So any one of these, could be the outcome of the invention. All right, so then patent is just one indicator of result of inventions, right? And to me, it is still important and still relevant, right? Because it shows, right, level of creativity as well as innovations. For example, for countries, the number of patents they issue, that would indicate, how advanced the country is, right? Which then leads to indicate, their leadership in the world, right? And then universities, they're still view that as important because it is part of the way they can get this, world reputation by having, more and more, patents issued for them. For faculty, for us faculty, it is a form of recognized, peer-reviewed work, not just research papers, but also patent. It is a form of, peer-reviewed work. For students, it could be an indicator of, future interest as well as, who knows, maybe, it's a startup company for them, and then now becomes their future career, right? So to me, again, patents are still relevant and still important, viewed as an important outcome of inventions. And here's a picture of a number of international patent filings. By 2018, US still is leading. This is based on WIPO, right? And China is behind the US, but you can see the trend though. US is down, while China, has increased their number of patents since 2017, right? So it is still viewed as important, right? Important achievement by, countries. And again, this indicates, how creativity is being, achieved, or innovation being achieved within these different countries. And in terms of universities, in the US, University of California still leads the number of US patents issued, right? And then followed by MIT, Stanford, and so on and so forth. And that's from 2018, right? So then what can we do to cultivate creativities within universities? And again, this is based on my experience. We can integrate this type of approach within the curriculum, as well as by complementing the curriculum with some kind of programs or activities outside of the classrooms. Now, so I'm going to talk about, briefly on different levels of involvement that we can do within the university to help, cultivate creativities for our students. I'll start with classroom, and then department, and then college, university, and beyond university. Again, this is based on my personal experience, working at Cal Poly for the past 21 years. First one, we have these traditional flipped courses. So that's something that is still being done in the university, including Cal Poly. We do have classes that are being taught on a flip format, and most of us though still are doing the traditional format. There's always debate whether or not flipped classroom can introduce more creativity versus the traditional classroom. I'm a big believer that both can flip, but either format, if you want to introduce or not introduce, but promote creativities in the classroom. The students need to be exposed to challenges, as well as unsolved problems, opportunities, right? As well as instructors also playing a big role here, right? The more experienced the instructor is, the better it is for students to be exposed to different challenges as well as opportunities, right? And this experience could be either research experience or industry experience, or both. I think that would be useful, especially for classes that we aim for this particular outcome. If we're talking about outcome, of our curriculum, and if you have specific course where we want to hit this outcome big, then you might want to have experienced faculty to teach it. Flipped classroom, based on a study by Al-Zahrani, concluded that a well-designed flipped classroom may promote students' creativity and significantly facilitate their creativity. But on the flip side, no pun intended there, traditional classroom also could, right, has the potential to do the same thing, given appropriate class assignments, lab exercises, open-ended questions. I think that's also doable. And coming from used to be a polytechnic school, labs definitely help. As a professor here at Cal Poly, we are we are teaching labs as well. It's not just being taught by TAs, but it's being taught by professors. And as the instructor for the labs, I can tell that that's actually a good way for us to challenge them, with some kind of unsolved problems where hopefully they can come up with some solutions out of the box, or some innovative solutions to a problem. I mean, just the other day, I have a lab, and I was explaining about our current technology related to power supply, and this is how we do it now, right? Based on my experience, this is how the technology is going to be going further in the future. And then one student commented, and says, "Hey, what about if you do this?" And then other students, reply, "Oh, if you do that, then we get this." So you can see, lab environment, I think, is a great way to definitely promote these creativities. Just by sharing, your experience, and it could prompt their interests and creative ideas. Very interesting to actually experience. That was happening. That happened a couple of days ago, by the way. All right, and then let's see what's next here. On the department level, of course, this is beyond senior projects and MS thesis, which obviously are the courses there where we demand, of course, creativities and innovations. But beyond those senior projects and MS thesis, what else can we do? Right. So this is where I think department has the role of, for example, getting sponsor projects from industry. This, of course, heavily relies on industry connections, and based on my experience, it takes years to establish relationship. It's not something that can be done, in a day, right? It takes years to develop relationship to some companies, and then after several years, they get to know you, and then they are willing to share their problems, the challenges in their company, and perhaps little projects that they have for us to be able to solve, to help solve for them, right? And for this kind of, this is actually what the emphasis is at Cal Poly, right? We are learn by doing school. We are a very practical school, so we are our faculty. Most of our faculty, we have very good relationship to industries, and most of our projects also come from industries, more so than from the government, for example, or from some research agency. So our grants, these are not big grants, like it's not like $1 million type of grants. It's more like small grants, 5,000, all the way up to maybe 200,000 grants, from industry, and they mostly ask for design improvements instead of new ideas. And this is where students get involved in trying to solve for new solutions for their problems, right? And then unfortunately, though, for this kind of setting, companies typically want to own new ideas. So if students come up with a new idea, then most likely they want to own it, unless there's a contract that we sign that says, okay, we have no ideas, then we own it instead of companies own it. So based on my experience, again, sponsor projects like this from industry, it's great for promoting creativities, great for students, great for the experience for students to be able to experience real world projects, providing real world solutions, but maybe not for promoting invention, unfortunately. Right. Examples that I've done in the past, I was involved with quite a few projects with companies. These are just a few of them. From NASA, I'm doing, I did one for their power supply, for their propulsion system, high voltage power supply. That was a great project. LED project, that's another project we did with a company who manufacture LEDs. They're looking for a way to save even more energy for processing the energy into LEDs. So we did that project as well. Oil companies, currently I'm working with them in terms of improving the quality of their system. A lot of projects from utility companies that I've done in the past, including this year. So many aspects of utility companies that we've done, problems that we've done. For example, reliability type of problems, making power system smart and things like that, right? So a lot of projects coming from companies. Another thing that we can do that we can integrate into our curriculum. So sponsor projects, it could be part of could be counted toward graduation units with certain number of courses, but graduate seminar is one that we have at Cal Poly as an example, where every master's student is required to have, I believe, up to 3 units of graduate seminar class. So this is where they just need to come and listen. So usually this is held on Fridays for 1 hour, from 2 to 3 o'clock Friday afternoon, where the instructor of the class, I've taught it once, invite people from industries, right, to share their experience, to share, any new technologies that are going on within their company. Of course, the ones that they can share, and then some creative solutions that they've done to some challenging problems, present challenges that they have, opportunities that they have. That's that kind of sharing session, I believe, is very important to trigger some creativities among our students. So that's something that we put in our curriculum, and that's something that every master student have to have anyways. Right? So that's one thing that we've done. Independent study, this is also integrated into our curriculum, both undergrad and graduate level curriculum. This provides some flexibility in terms of accommodating, maybe some students have their own ideas, right? But they don't want to do it for a senior project, because senior project, they have to publish their report. They don't want to do that. So there is a way to provide that kind of, there's a mechanism for them, to be able to do this without having to publish their work. So that could be done under independent study. So every student, every undergrad student, even every master's student, they can actually take this class if they want to. Of course, if they have a new idea, they want to develop it at Cal Poly. And again, they could register for this class up to 3 units to replace, for example, senior technical electives for undergrad. If it's grad students, it's going to be counted toward their graduate research units, up to 3 units as well. Right. So those are so this is another way of allowing our students, or promoting, or not allowing, but encouraging our students to pursue their creativities by having this kind of courses for them to use, right, to pursue their ideas. Okay. Examples that I've done in the past: FarmBot for agricultural applications using renewable energy. So the student had this idea of developing energy for FarmBot using solar cell, for example. And so that was his senior project. Sorry, what is it called again? Independent study. Sorry. And then another student has an idea on automation system for house shingles. Right, so that's another one that I've done in the past. So it's good because it allows flexibility, right, in the curriculum, in our program. Okay, moving up to college level, what can we do on the college level in order to cultivate these creativities among our students? Having centers, establishing centers, institutes, or clubs at the college level, that would also be helpful. One of the very successful clubs, which becomes a center now, is called PolySat. It's very well known. That Cal Poly has this CubeSat institute on campus. They develop, these are team of students and faculty, right? Building CubeSat that they're launching into space, just like that small satellite right there, 10 by 10 by 10, and relatively low cost. And this is just a recent project they got from NASA, right? So NASA Small Satellite Program selects Cal Poly to help develop new technology for lunar exploration missions, right? So imagine the creativities and then innovations that came out of these activity itself, right? It's gonna be a lot. If you're interested, you can check out this link. Okay. QL Plus is another one that I personally like the most. Hopefully someday I get to join this this center. Has to do with helping people with disabilities, right? Very good purpose. Using research, using technologies. We help people with disabilities to make their life easier. Right? It was actually established for veterans, but then it expanded into individuals with with different disabilities. Right? So assistive technology, that's the word I'm looking for. Right? So we have that as well on Cal Poly, and imagine the type of innovations, creativities that came out of these center. Right? Again, it's mostly students working in this lab, right? Only a few faculty. Another one is Irrigation Training and Research Center. We have a lot at Cal Poly. This is I'm just providing several of them, several examples. This is another one that is also successful on campus. ITRC for agriculture. I worked with this center a couple of times. They got big projects for irrigation. California is big in agriculture, so I think this is a very important part of Cal Poly here, this research center. And their work is not just in the state of California, but also in the nation as well as around the world. So if you are interested in what they've done, again, students are involved in this type of projects. Imagine again how much creativities are being cultivated there, right, in those activities. And there's the link right there, itrc.org. Of course, I don't want to leave out my own institute. This is the institute that I'm leading, Electric Power Institute. It's the oldest institute on campus. It serves as the liaison between electric power industry and the university. Right. So here we have a lot of utility companies, not like in Indonesia. So we have, we try to have, good. We try to establish, good, strong relationship with these utility companies, and with the hope that and also oil companies, with the hope that they can share their ideas, their projects with students. And so far we have quite a few projects with, as I said earlier, utilities, oil companies, involving faculties and students. Again, this is one way we can cultivate these creativities among our students by having these different centers focusing on different fields, inviting companies within different fields to contribute to campus, right? And if you're interested in EPI, you can have that. You can go ahead and check out that link. And again, still on the college level, we have these activities every year called Summer Undergraduate Research Program. We are mainly undergraduate school. We don't have PhDs. So we are mainly undergraduate engineering school. So we have this program every summer where faculty would apply for these research activities, research event. And if our proposal get approved, then we conduct research over the summer with students, undergraduate students. It's been a very successful program, again, to cultivate innovations and creativities among our students, especially undergrad. And so if you're interested, those are the links for College of Engineering, and another one that's being done over by College of Agriculture at Cal Poly. All right, moving up to university, what have the university done on this aspect? The first thing is Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, CIE. So we have this center on campus, which helps acquire the tools, develop the skills, cultivate the mindset of an entrepreneur, therefore creating economic and social value throughout the world. And they have this startup marathon held annually, which is a 54-hour-long event, which developers, designers, innovators, they meet for the first time and develop a business over the weekend. So 54-hour-long event. Pitch the idea on Friday night, then everyone will vote which one has the best ideas. Then will be chosen, and then teams will be formed around them. And then the team who got selected will work nonstop throughout the weekend. And then on Sunday night, they will present in front of a panel of entrepreneurs and investors. Right. And then they also have this elevator pitch held annually, gives students 90 seconds to pitch their ideas, gives out $1,000 for the winner. Also Innovation Quest, another event that they hold annually, empowers and supports innovators and entrepreneurs to build interdisciplinary teams to go from ideas to prototypes to companies. Price $15,000 for the first place, $10,000 for the second, $6,500 for the third. And then they also have Hatchery, a student incubator and mentorship to learn how to take a business from idea generation to launch. If a student is interested in starting up a company, they could go to this Hatchery program, and they'll mentor you to do this. And then they also have this hackathon, again held annually, giving students the opportunity to spend 12 hours to build a mobile app, website, or project that will make life better for Cal Poly and the community. So these are different ways, again, that the campus university level has done in terms of cultivating these new ideas. And speaking of new ideas, this just came out of the oven 3 weeks ago. If you don't see it yet, this is me, by the way, right? The most handsome in the picture. And you can see that this is a part of the, as a result of the CIE that I just talked about, right? Students, these are the two students. Now we have maybe 10 students involved in this startup. So we have a startup company, the 3 faculty, Professor Poston, Professor Sloan, and myself. We have a startup company that hopes to shape future of California wildfire. So we basically looking at the problems that California has in terms of wildfires that happens every year. So based on that, we came up with an idea to detect fire early to hopefully prevent future fires. Okay. And then we also have IP and Technology Transfer Office on campus, which support, if, for example, I have an idea, I want to patent it. So anytime I have a US patent, anytime I want to apply for a US patent, I have to go through this office. So Cal Poly will support that. I'm sure other universities have this as well, right? So it makes it easier for us to apply for US patent, right? And not only that, they seek industry business advisors willing to share industry current and future needs with Cal Poly. They invite industry to develop particular project, bring their wish list, bottlenecks, and their blue sky ideas, and seek industry business advisors to provide advices on market potential of technologies developed by faculty and students. And this is the last ceremony we had 2 years ago before pandemic. And if you don't recognize it yet, this is me again, right, with a smiley, happy face, because I got the recognition for the patent that I received a couple of years ago, right? And then lastly, Technology Park. So university currently has this Technology Park on campus, which is, I think, is a cool idea. Currently consists of one 25,000 square feet building with 20,000 square feet of leasable space. So basically companies could be on campus, could have an office on campus, and utilize facilities on campus with reduced fee, of course, right? And with some fees, and can also utilize expertise within the campus, like Cal Poly faculty and students, hire students as their interns or faculty or as their consultants on campus, right? So right there on campus. Ability to use test facilities on campus, rapid prototyping laboratories, right? And ability to use other Cal Poly resources such as IT support, graphic design, and so on and so forth. It's a good idea. Here's the picture of the building on campus. Right now we have these companies as our current tenants. I'm not going to go through each one of them, but you can read them yourself. Right? So companies with home offices here in this building on campus. And then beyond university, we actively seek competition, of course, national competition, international competition, and California State University system has 23 campuses. Every year they hold the student research competition, right, from 23 campuses within California State University system, both for undergraduate and graduate research competitions. Participants from all disciplines are judged by experts from their oral presentation and written abstracts. My team won first place back in 2004. After that, I didn't want to do it anymore. Let some other people compete for Cal Poly. But we won that first place back in 2004 for undergraduate engineering. And beyond that, these are just examples that I got involved in the past. Competition, beyond campus. NASA Junior Space Elevator, we won the third place in 2008. Google Little Box, we didn't make it, even though it was a fun project. Solar Decathlon, we won several places there twice. We went for the competition twice. And then wind competition is the one that I'm currently involved, and other ones that I don't want to list, too many to list. And of course, university loves their faculty to be involved in this kind of activity, producing inventions. And this is my picture, invited for a big event, not on campus. This is outside of campus, called Good Morning Slow, which is a very popular event every month. Full house. I don't know, like maybe 400 people in the room. And I got invited. You have to be invited to be a speaker there. So because of my invention, I got invited to give a very quick talk about my invention. And another one, I made it to the TV, local TV, because of my invention as well. Right there, the purple board, that's the MISO. And I didn't actually know that I was on TV until somebody told me, hey, you're famous now. I said, why? You were on TV last night. I said, oh, I didn't know. Anyhow, summary. The need to educate future generations on creativity that leads to inventions to compete in future global economy, right? So that's what we need to do as an academia. We need to recognize the need to do this, to educate our future generations. And university, I believe, has a difficult task and challenging task to take on these active roles in establishing programs, activities, curriculum that engage and support educational environment that cultivate creativities. And lastly, it is true that necessity is the mother of invention. However, I believe that we need to embrace the fact that necessity is not just for the present, but also for the future, because this is the key for us to be a global leader at present as well as in the future. Okay, I think that would be the end of it, so that we have time for question and answers. Thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you very much, Professor Taufik. Yeah, it's 1 hour exactly. Okay,
Oh,
so it is interesting. I think it's from the point of view of university, college, university, department. I take some checklists here that some things ITS are also engaging right now, like the startup supporting mechanism, and then the projects with the industry. I'm sure also many participants here are also students. Yeah, I saw some undergraduate and also postgraduate students. Maybe you are interested to know how to cultivate it from point of view of you as individual, you yourself as student. So I might invite questions from the students' point of view as well. Okay, so from the question list, we already got some questions. I would like to read a question from Mrs. Desi. She is a lecturer from Universitas Bangka Belitung, Department of Civil Engineering. Her question is, how to bring out student creativity and encourage student interest in doing research from simple things based on your experience? Yeah, so that is the question.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I think our students, I believe our students, they all just need a little bit of a push, right, to show their creativities, right? It is our job actually to be able to um, um, force them to, not force them, but to be able to have them, to be able to encourage them. That's the word I'm looking for. In order to encourage them to show their creativity, right? And so, for my experience, for example, I always tell my students that, because of the fact that, our school is very hands-on or learn by doing school, I always keep telling my students, just don't look too far, just look around you, right? Look at what you have in front of you. You are learning about op-amps, or as an example, you're learning about a circuit, right? I'm sorry, I'm speaking electrical engineering right now. You're learning about something, right, in your class. Don't look too far, just look for anything that you can improve based on what you learn in front of you, right? Or you're walking somewhere in the park, look around you, look at what technology is being used by people, and see if you can find anything that you can improve. Just like the example I told you earlier, right, about looking at this cell tower from Phase 3, right? That's the same story I share to my students. That just by looking at that Phase 3, I get an idea about having wind generation from piezoelectrics, right, using a Phase 3. Right? So don't look too far. We are, like I said earlier. Again, this is within the context of me coming out of practically a polytechnic school, right? That we want to look for creativity around us. Just don't look far. Just look around you. I think that's the advice I give to my students, and I'm giving the same advice here. Right? You wouldn't believe how many things you can actually improve by just looking at the stuff around you. Like your laptop in front of you, right? Your tablet in front of you. Based on your what do you call it? Academic background, of course, right? We have different backgrounds. So for you, civil engineers, right? Looking at different house, different shape, I don't know, different bridges, I don't know, so think about it that way. Don't look too far. That's my advice.
Yes, okay, thank you. I also invite other participants to, maybe you want to ask your question directly, you can click the raise hand button in your Zoom. Okay. While I wait for someone, if someone wants to raise button. There is another question. I think this question. Next question is from a student. It's from Marshanda in electrical engineering. I think this is more related to the motivation or the justification of an invention. So her question is, why are some research or some inventions just stop there? Or it seems that no one continue the research or developing the inventions. Or why do you think it's going that way?
That's the thing, right? What to do after you invent something, right? So that actually where I think more of the work will have to be done, right? Basically, adopting the having or making sure that your invention can be used. That's a really difficult work to do because it's not just technical challenge there, right? It's a lot of challenges there. People who can finance you, people who can fund you with the invention, and then to become a real, a true, to actual prototype, actual product, from invention to an actual product. There's a lot of work that has to be done there, and that's a question that really is relevant to my situation right now at Cal Poly, for example, right? I think there is still a big gap between, at least for Cal Poly, in terms of how do you follow up after, let's say, you patent something. What do you do next, right? And so I think university should be leading this effort, right? They should be able to spread the word out about this invention, right? And then invite companies who potentially have potentially will be interested in these inventions to look at the inventions, see if they're interested, right? And that takes a lot of time for faculty members such as myself to do this. And something that you need to know, I don't know if you're a student, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so as a faculty here in an undergraduate university, Cal Poly is a teaching university. Every faculty has a big teaching load. So we are teaching so many classes every quarter. So we practically have no time, to do other things. So we are really relying on our university to help us on this. So I think a lot of inventions don't go anywhere because that process stops, unfortunately. And I did give my inputs to my university here, that I need your help, to progress with this invention, right? To do a follow-up work, not just having US patent. I mean, that's great to have a US patent. It'll be better if the US patent is being used, if the invention is being used, right? It'll be nice to have that, plus I can retire too if they use my invention, right? I can retire as a faculty. And maybe that's why they don't want it, because I'll be retiring. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. But, I get rich, right, if some company use my inventions, but I don't know. But they get rich too. University get rich too because they get the royalty. So I don't know. To me, there's got to be a way for a university to bridge that. And I already explained that. I think at least at Cal Poly, I'm sure for other universities, especially research universities, they are more mature, more advanced in this process than teaching universities like Cal Poly. But at least now we have the CIE, the one that I explained earlier. And I think that's the effort that the university is doing in terms of bridging, this gap between what do you do after you get that US patent, in order to be able to be adopted by, industries. So I think that's my answer.
Yeah, so everyone has a role here. You as the students, you have a role for this, and then the university, and then I think
Yeah, and then I think companies I think
yes.
they would be what do you call it? Probably more willing to talk to a university person than me as a faculty member, right? When it comes to invention, who am I, right? I'm just a faculty member. But if let's say Cal Poly, right, or a university name comes to a company, then they would say like, oh wow, this is a big entity, not just a person, but it's a big entity, university itself. So I think university has the big role in bridging this gap. Yeah.
Yes, but I appreciate students who join the session this morning. So this also shows your role. Now you understand that there are even more steps after you promoting your inventions. Okay. There is this question that is still related to patents. So I would like to read this question as well. It's from Miss Desi from Civil Engineering. What are the maintenance or do you have to maintain patents that you have obtained? So I think this is still related to what you're discussing before. And what obstacles were encountered during the patent application process? And yeah, for this maintaining the patents. Yeah.
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, so definitely we have to pay the fee to filing a patent. So the university will take care of that fees, not the faculty member. I will not have the money to pay for the fees, quite expensive. The lawyer's fee, especially they're very expensive. So maintenance fee, I don't know about that, but definitely filing a patent costs some money. And then if the patent got rejected the first time, and then you what do you call it? Then you reply. What's the word I'm looking for? And then you feel like their response is not right. So you what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Basically, we decided,
or resubmission? No.
no, like anyhow, we disagree with their evaluation, right?
Oh, appeal. Is it appeal? No?
Appeal, yes, thank you. Appeal, yes, we appeal. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. So we appeal, and then that costs more money too, right? For the university. So yeah, it costs some money, and that's why it is again important for university to be able to help. But then on the flip side, on the downside, of course, I don't know if it's a downside, but the university also wants a piece of the pie, right? They want some royalty as well, because they pay, and you also use their facility, right? So I think that's I don't know if that's an obstacle, but I think it's a fair share, I think. But as long as the percentage is fair, I think it's fine. I'm not sure how much percentage other universities take away, but at Cal Poly, for example, the university gets 60%. So the inventors get 40%. Yeah, just in case it becomes a royalty, then yeah, so the royalty becomes shared that way. 60% university, 40% the inventor. And for Cal Poly specifically, the first $50,000 profit that we get from the royalty that belongs to the inventors. So that's kind of the incentive for faculty to file a patent. And yeah, so that's pretty good, right? First $50,000 for the inventors, and then the rest going to be 60-40. What obstacles? A lot for our case. Cal Poly, we're not a research university. We don't have PhDs, and so we do what we can, and we have a big teaching load. So imagine, every faculty has big teaching load. We're teaching, 4 classes every quarter, not semester, 12 weeks. So 36 classes per year. That's a lot of classes to teach, right? And beyond that, we have to do, same thing as in Indonesia. We have 3 Dharma too, right? And then we have to serve in committees, and then we have to do professional development. So the obstacle from the faculty point of view, from us here at Cal Poly, is that it's very hard to find time to develop from an idea to a prototype, a US patent, basically. Right? That's a challenge for us, given our condition here, being a teaching university. So I think that's the biggest challenge for me personally. Right? And then beyond that, it's just paperwork. So that's my challenge.
Yes, very much. Yeah, I hope this answers the question that you're asking for. I see no one is raising hands, so I will continue reading the question. So this is actually still related to my own question about creativity. So previously, a lecturer asked how to encourage creativity, but this is a question from students' point of view. So this is from Brawijaya University lecturer, and also there are similar question from students of electrical engineering from Polytechnic. So where does the creativity come from? So this is you already answered, I know, some similar questions before, yeah, but still maybe I don't know if I can add to this question, yeah, because this is also my own question as someone who was born and raised in Indonesia, and then I've been exposed to several countries, yeah, and I see, yeah, maybe in Indonesia it's the education like from the primary school, it's not really giving a creativity to be cultivated. Like I also now have a son who is in primary school. I see from the way they assess, they evaluate, it's really strict. It doesn't give the students a chance to think out of the box.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I don't know what if or how can we improve this I don't know this creativity. I also see the way they teach in university. Maybe some are really strict. They don't give any free to the students. Yeah, so maybe this some of the similar questions are like where does the creativity come from? How can we find novel idea or new idea? I don't know.
Yeah. So in terms of curriculum, right? We understand that there are some materials that needs to be covered, right? That's part of the curriculum.
Sorry, Professor Taufik. So yes. you already answered previously. You said, okay, so maybe we can walk outside and look at our surroundings. Well, maybe some of us will do that, and we still got nothing in our heads. So maybe what else can we do? I don't know. Do you have any?
Yeah, I mean,
any recommendation? Any recommendation? I don't know.
Yeah, that's. I think I mentioned another example. I mean, that's just one way, right? One way is to look around, just something close to you. That's just one example. Another example, from the faculty point of view, you share your experience, right? That's why I said earlier in one of the slides, if let's say you would like a course that would like to have this outcome, creativity as an outcome, you would need a faculty member who has the experience, because experienced faculty member has these additional insights about many things, right? That could promote these, that could insight, insight students thinking of a problem. So this faculty member will have the knowledge on, okay, what kind of thing that still needs to be explored more, right? Like I said a couple of days ago, I talked about power supply design, right, to my class, to my lab, actually, based on my own experience, because I know, that's the technology that is going to be expanding too. So I just share the stories, and that incites, discussions, right? So I think that's one component of this, is that if we can have the time to do open-ended type of questions, discussions, that would definitely cultivate this creativity. On the downside, that requires time, right? And we understand, and I understand that we need to cover materials in the class. And so that's the challenge for us, right? So how are we able to cover materials that we are supposed to cover, at the same time we cultivate, creativities? And that could be done by, like I said, having an experienced faculty member teaching the class, because again, that faculty member will be able to kind of mix this together, right? While they are teaching the material, they can pose these questions that would incite these creativities among our students. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that to me that's one way of doing it. Again, it's a challenge. That we have only a certain number of hours per semester to cover material. At the same time, we want to cultivate creativity. If that doesn't happen, if let's say it's not possible to do, then we have other alternatives, right? Like the one I explained in the presentations, right? You do beyond the classroom, right? Or you do independent study, right? Or you do other methods that I explained earlier. So I'm sure there's always a way to do this, not only in the classroom, but also beyond the classroom. So, yeah.
Yes, I think one way is also by attending this kind of session, and also during this pandemic, there are a lot of webinars. I've attended some of the webinars related to industry problems. So I think that is also one way. Like,
yeah, of course, yeah. So, I mean, that's one of the things I pointed out earlier as well in the presentation by having, for example, in our case, we have graduate seminar every week, right? Every Friday.
Every week, yeah, okay.
Yeah, every Friday is from 2 to 3. And that's open, even though that class is for our graduate students, for our master's students, but it's open for undergrad students as well. And, we invite, who else is better in terms of, sharing, experience, right? Industrial experience than the people from industry themselves, right? So we invite them. We invite people from industry, to give us some updates on certain technologies or some solution that they recently offer for their company or opportunities and things like that. And definitely, this is one way to do it. Right? So yes. many ways to hit this objective, in my opinion. Right? And yeah, necessity is a matter of invention. I've said that earlier, right? So for example, this COVID-19, for example, right? It's a good example. As soon as COVID hit, right, we have this program in Indonesia where everybody is what do you call that agency, BRIN? Yes. Putting out these call for proposals for people to come up with ideas for helping with this pandemic, right? And I kind of wish, yes. I mean, that's good. I mean, I totally support that, but I kind of wish that we did it much earlier. We don't wait until pandemic happens, right? We should be able to expect, we're smart human being, for God's sake. Why do we have to get hit by the problem first before we invent it? So that's why I said that's my last point, that we need to embrace the fact that the necessity should be not just for the present time but also for the future. We need to be able to project, right? What kind of things we can improve in the future, right? What kind of things we can do in the future? What kind of things we can help in the future? Expecting that pandemic is going to happen based on history, right? We know it's going to happen. Right? So, yeah. Well, on one side is good that we had that program, but it's more like what do you call it? A reactive type of reactive kind of approach than responsive type of approach, right? So anyhow, that's a different discussion.
Yes. Thank you, Prof. Taufik. Okay. So we still have 10 minutes, and ladies and gentlemen, if you want to ask in Bahasa Indonesia, that is also okay. Even Prof. Taufik said Bahasa Jawa would also be okay. but some of us are from Kalimantan and Sumatera. Okay, so Bahasa Indonesia would also be okay.
Iya, Bahasa Indonesia aja lah, udah pegel. Lidah saya udah pegel.
Okay. We have a question from the Master of Ceremony itself, Mr. Ronnie. You said you have a question, so you can ask the question by yourself. Silakan, Mas Ronnie. Hello?
You're muted. I can see you're speaking, but you're muted. Still no.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, Mas Roni, fix your microphone while I read another question. Okay, so this question is related to this pandemic now with all of its online activity. So the question is from student Muhammad Adi from electrical engineering. The original question is how to create creativity in that situation, in this online, all online online class, online lecture. But if you if you permit, I would also ask. I would also add to this question. How do you maintain all those? You have several activities, yeah, your seminar projects, and then your projects with the industry, and also the SURP projects. How does this being maintained during this online activity session?
Yeah, I think one of the blessings from this pandemic, it's overall bad, this pandemic, of course, don't get me wrong, but one thing that I learned from pandemic is that positive thing I get from this pandemic is that, I get to be an expert in Zoom. So now everything can be done through Zoom. And it looks like, even after pandemic is gone, I bet you, we're going to continue with the Zoom. Right? Now that we know how to use it, before I never used any of these, technology, even though I know it existed, but I refused to do it, because the mindset was, why? But now I can see the benefits, right, of doing it this way, and that was proven by, by the fact that I was able to conduct projects without having to physically meet with the students, right? Still get the projects done. This last summer I had 2 projects, SERP projects, got them done, through online, so just through Zoom. Right? And so that's again, maybe a blessing in disguise. I don't know, but so anyhow, yeah, that's one thing. Is that if anything, this pandemic makes us, somewhat an expert in online or webinar web type of meetings. Mm-hmm. So that would make this process, I think more efficient too, and more effective too. I mean, I don't have to go to campus to meet my students now. I can just be here in my house, and drinking my coffee or eating my dinner or something like that. I don't know. And I think it's a positive side of having these Zoom meetings. So it's actually been helpful, having this technology. So that's why I was able to finish those projects. If you asked that, I think you asked that question earlier. Now, in terms of what kind of what do you call it, creativity you can get out of these online, I think Dr. Fida already mentioned earlier, this is a chance for students to actually listen to more and more webinars, right? Get more and more ideas. These are all free, mostly free. I don't know, I have not had any webinar that's not free, through Zoom. I've done quite a few already these past, 2 months. I lost count how many I've done. And every single one of them is free, right? And this is your chance. I mean, before, how could you do that before without Zoom, right? You have to physically travel to a certain place, and you have to pay. You have to pay. You have to go to the airport. Go to, I don't know. A lot of hassles, right? But think about, what opportunities, pandemic has given us, in a weird way, in a strange way, that it opens, opportunity for students to learn a lot about different things, about different technologies, about different aspect of educations, like such as today, and things like that. So take advantage. As if I were you, I would take advantage. You know, anytime there is a free webinar that interests your passion, that aligns with your passion, you know, go ahead and join. You know, take advantage. It's free. You know, it's right there in front of you. You don't have to go through the hassles of traveling. And you know, pandemic is going to be over, right? That's our hope, of course. And I'm pretty soon is going to go. It's going to be over. So then, what you'll be thinking is, what can you do after pandemic is over? Not during pandemic. But I think during pandemic, I think it is a good chance for you to learn a lot from different people who's giving seminars. So think about what can you do after pandemic is over. We're hoping that's going to be over next year. Okay.
Yes. Okay. I wonder. So previously in your presentation, you mentioned that lab-based activities, hands-on, is really important in cultivating creativity. So how do you? I don't know. How do you maintain this lab and hands-on experience during this online session?
Yeah. No, that's a good question. Yeah. So. As I mentioned in the presentation earlier, that you know, as a teaching university in California, we have very good relationship with industries, especially with companies both in Silicon Valley as well as in Southern California. And so at this point, after 21 years of teaching here, I've got some good relationship with quite a few companies, you know, in Silicon Valley, for example. And so I'm always in continuous contact with them in terms of, you know, what kind of technologies they're doing these days. And these are something that I would then, you know, think through and then see if I can somehow apply or implement in the labs. So labs that I have, I'm actually teaching power electronics lab. It's not, doesn't always have the same experiments. You know, maybe it does for 3 years. Then after 3 years, I have to update the labs to be more relevant to the students. And that's why I believe this is one of the keys in cultivating, you know, creativity, is to be able to upgrade our labs. So our labs don't teach our students, you know, not relevant stuff anymore, you know, like old technologies anymore. It's more like, okay, now we're in this phase of technology. Let's teach our students that technology instead of the previous ones. Even though the previous one is still good for the foundation, you know, part of the technology, but you know, I think it's important for students to know what is the current state of the art of the technology. You know, so that's what I've done, you know, for my own lab, and some of my faculty colleagues doing the same thing. You know, they, for example, IoTs, right? That's what's hot today. My colleague just developed an IoT lab, you know, from a big company called Maxim, who just got bought by another big company called ADI in Silicon Valley. You know, so so that's why I think the key here is to be able to have that, be able to establish good relationship with companies, and being able to get information from these companies, right, about technologies, current state of technologies that still need further development. And that's something that we put as an experiment in the lab. So that students know, oh yeah, we have this technology, but this technology is not yet, you know, mature yet. It's not mature yet, or it can still be developed. So from doing the experiment themselves, they already learn about, you know, a possibility of furthering the technology. You know. Yes, hopefully that answers your question.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah. So I think it's already 9:40 right now. Actually, there are still questions that I haven't read. So I'm so sorry to all participants whose questions I haven't read. So you can still easily contact Professor Taufik later. Mas Roni, I think it's time to move on to next agenda. So let me thank Professor Taufik. Thank you, Professor Taufik, for the presentation and also for the discussion session. I hope the
You're welcome.
participants can still contact you if they want to discuss something.
Absolutely.
Yes,
They have
okay.
my contact. I believe I
Yes,
put it on the last slide. And
yes.
I'll share the slide.
Yes.
I'm not sure to whom.
Yes, the committee will contact you. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, yes. Thank you very much. Okay, so I also thank the participants for staying with us up to now. I'm sorry if I have any mistakes reading your question or interpreting your questions. So I let Mr. Ronnie lead the session again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Taufik and Dr. Vita. Please give a warm welcome. Please give a warm applause using the clap button on your our speaker and moderator who gave us very insightful presentation. Anyway, even though I cannot ask my question, but it's okay. But we just want to inform all of you that you can still ask the question through the link that we had shared, because we will send the question to Professor Taufik directly. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we now can move to the next agenda, which is certificate awarding to our valuable speaker, Professor Taufik. Okay, yes.
Hey.
All right.
Thank you.
Hopefully, this little appreciation would always attach in your heart, Professor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, before we end our program, it is our culture that we want to capture our memory today by taking a group photo. So,
of course,
for everyone, just turn on your video showing us the best smile that you have, and I'll give 10 seconds. The committee will help us to screenshot our picture. I want to check first. We are invited you to turn on the video. Hi there. There is a children that waving his hand. Right. Okay. 5, 4, 3. Okay, we're still waiting. I hope that all of you can involve to the group photo sessions. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we have 3 poses. So I'll count until 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Another pose. 1, 2, 3. Smile. One more. 1, 2, 3. That's all. Thank you so much. You can turn off. Thank you. Thank you so much. You can turn off your video if you want.
Yeah, I think you should also prepare a camera sound other than applause sound. Yeah.
All right. Yes.
For next session.
Sure. Thank you for the idea. So we had finished our group photo session. This is something also exciting because we want to inform you very exciting competition that everyone could join, especially for the student. I mean, I'm sorry, it is only for a student. I will deliver this information in Bahasa Indonesia. It is kompetisi diseminasi, kegiatan virtual public lecture people-to-people engineering. Alright, so ini adalah kompetisi khusus untuk mahasiswa bisa menyebarkan, tidak hanya menyebarkan poster ya, tapi yang lebih ditekankan adalah menyebarkan hasil kegiatan dari virtual public lecture, bisa membuka diskusi, kemudian mengajak serta temannya, koleganya untuk berdiskusi, yaitu beserta memposting ulang, meretweet, atau menyampaikan VPL di media sosial mereka dan mengadakan workshop lokal di antara siswa. Jadi sekali lagi kami ingatkan, ini bukanlah menyebarkan poster, tapi menyebarkan ilmu. Kami percaya bahwa yang hadir di sini sudah mencatat poin-poin penting dan itu bisa dideliver ke sebanyak mungkin orang. Diperkenankan melakukan aksi sosialisasi lebih dari 1 kali untuk mengumpulkan poin sebanyak-banyaknya. Kemudian nanti akan menyerahkan dokumentasi setiap aksi diseminasi dalam bentuk PDF ataupun JPG melalui Google Form yang akan disediakan oleh ITS. Di bawah itu adalah linknya. Next. Oke, mekanisme diseminasinya adalah dokumentasinya akan divalidasi dan harus dapat divalidasi ya. Peserta dengan poin tertinggi akan dipilih sebagai pemenang. Waktu pengumpulannya adalah kita sudah mulai sejak 28 September 2020 hingga 15 Januari 2021, mohon maaf, 15 Januari 2021, tahun depan, masih lama sekali. Next. Nah, hadiahnya adalah berupa beasiswa penuh untuk peserta bidang engineering untuk mengikuti International Short Program di ITS di tahun 2021. Sayangnya ini masih untuk mahasiswa, mungkin nanti akan ada untuk dosen-dosen juga barangkali. Next. Nah, berikut adalah sistem penilaiannya. Berbagi materi di media sosial akan mendapatkan poin 1. Berbagi materi di media sosial dan melakukan diskusi di fitur komentar akan mendapatkan poin 2. Kemudian berbagi materi melalui diskusi pertemuan online maupun pertemuan offline dengan peserta kurang dari 10 akan mendapatkan poin 3. Melakukan hal tersebut dengan peserta mulai dari 10 hingga 20 orang akan mendapatkan poin 4 dan lebih dari 20 orang akan mendapatkan poin 5. Kemudian jika ada tambahan kegiatan, membuat dan mengunggah laporan kegiatan berupa rangkuman materi, rangkuman diskusi, dan output diskusi akan mendapatkan nilai tambahan, yaitu 2. Kami mengingatkan kembali bahwa ini bukan hanya sekedar menyebarkan poster, tapi yang lebih penting adalah melakukan diskusi, melakukan diseminasi ya, sehingga harapannya akan semakin banyak orang yang teredukasi dengan hasil virtual public lecture yang sudah kita laksanakan hari ini. Begitu. Baik, jika nanti ada pertanyaan terkait dengan kompetisi diseminasi bisa menghubungi panitia. I think I'll switch my language again in English. Once again, we would like to express our great appreciation for the speaker, moderator, and all participants from all over Indonesia. We do hope everyone enjoy an insightful and joyful meeting virtual public lecture today. But before we officially end, don't forget, because we have next meeting. Yes, in 31st October 2020, we will have another virtual public lecture. We will have Dr. Rizal Haryadi from Arizona State University, United States, that bring the topic facilitating interdisciplinary integration of life sciences, physical sciences, engineering, and beyond. That will be amazing as well, and will be conducted in Bahasa Indonesia. Right, so don't miss it. Finally, I think we are really reached the end of the program. From the deepest of our heart, we do apologize for mistakes in presenting this event. All the committees wish the best of you, and don't forget wearing a mask. As usual, wash your hand, do social distancing. We are still under pandemic, and thank you very much. Let's meet again in the next week on the 6th series of P2P in Engineering Fields 2020. So, bye-bye everyone. See ya.